taking time to talk to you about this so that you as the consumers who are empowered with this knowledge will be able to demand and insist on the distribution company to perform this service standard for you. And because if we don't, hold service providers accountable on their actions, get just anything. So, and that's why at every given time, we need to always demand and insist on our rights. And again, if there is a planned outage, it is expected that, let's understand, if the distribution company envisage that there's going to be a maintenance or a repair of any of their equipment, the service standard requires that 3 days notice be given to you as electricity consumers so that you'll be able to plan.
That's if there's power outage.
Yeah, plan outage. You know, most of the time, consumers experience some outages.
Sudden outage.
Yeah. And there's no information. And when you make attempt to find out, you discover that it is as a result of a planned maintenance. So you already have this in your plans. Why don't you inform the consumer so that the consumer too will be able to plan and get alternative source of energy? So the consumer is not just left in the dark, because we've had calls where consumers will call us to say that they have not had supply of electricity and there's no information from the distribution company, and thereby their foodstuff that has been refrigerated has gone bad. So that's not fair. If we have planned we have planned outages, I mean, it is expected that the distribution company it is a must notify the the customer must be notified. That is, the consumer must be notified of any planned outage. It is a must. So let us get it. And then where we are not experiencing that, I think we need to really escalate it so that the Commission will also become aware of such practices. It is important for us not to just be taken unaware like that, and we suffer all manner of losses without, getting any form of succor.
Sorry. Talking about power outage, consumers are supposed to provide 3 days prior to
the plan outage. Yeah.
How is that possible? Is it going to be or they'll go from house to house informing them?
Oh yeah. I remember even when there was an issue that the distribution company, complains, I know sometimes it's difficult. Just the way the distribution company is able to distribute bills. You understand?
So that's the same way.
That's the least one. That's just a suggestion. Okay. Assuming the distribution company will, because that's why there's no excuse.
Exactly.
If you have a channel a channel you use to even get to the consumers, to get to distribute their bills, to pay their bills, I think that if at all you don't have any channel, sorry, I don't even want to say you don't have. Nothing should be excuse for you not giving out information to consumers. And let me also explain. Planned, let's understand. When it is a planned outage, you plan. Most of the time, I usually see some of these notification on planned outages on social media. And it is to enable them carry out some form of maintenance. You planned it. You understand? So that's why you see me emphasizing
on
plan.
The plan.
It is when I can even read it verbatim the way the direct sector regulator provide. They said customer must be notified by the DISCO of planned outage at least 3 working days before it is required for maintenance and repair. So these outages that we're talking about, planned outages, can be for our own good. Maybe to enhance the kind of services that we're getting, to improve the service that we're supposed to get. So the consumer must be notified. So because you plan towards it. All right. Okay. So, and we also have another one, which is 5 days. And that one has to do with where a customer requests specification of materials from a DISCO. Sometimes because consumer, when it has to do with any electricity issues, you have the right to approach the distribution company to get clarification, to get whatever it is that you want to make you get value for the services you're getting from the distribution company. So this service standard is talking about where a customer requests specification of materials from a disco, the disco must provide a list of materials for connecting the premises to its network within 5 working days. So I know that a lot of times consumers too, we get few calls that has to do with this kind of requests for specification when consumers even approach the disco, and then the disco begins to tour them to and fro, tell them this and that and that. So sometimes consumers call us to say they made a request for certain materials,
And
yes, not even receive, and then they are not getting clearance or something. So the regulation here and the customer service standard provides that the consumer should be able to get this specification within 5 working days of their request, and because it's within the customer service standard.
So why is this on 5 and planned outage? Okay, why is the planned outage not also 5 working days of notification? Just like you said,
these are regulations. For me, I think that it's even okay that at least there's something. Most of the time, consumers don't even know that they even have rights.
Right, exactly.
For them to be notified for any plan. What the consumers just get is they just wake up and see that there's no supply and there's no information. One good thing about this electricity is that all of us are actually electricity consumers.
Exactly.
Because in one way, there's no one who is not using electricity. So we experience a whole lot of things. It's not something, the only thing is that I might be facing, I might be facing meter issues. You might be facing estimated billing. But in one way or the other, all of us have one story to tell about how we feel or the kind of services we get when it has to do with electricity.
Absolutely.
So it is something, that's why it is very, very important for us to even be knowledgeable, to be able to even know our rights, so that at every given time that we're not getting the kind of services we're supposed to get, we demand and insist on them. Because it's very important. It's very important for us as electricity consumers to know how to engage these service providers. In this regard, we're talking about the distribution companies. Okay? So we have another service standard that provides 10 days. And this one is provision of a new or additional connection. Provision of a new or additional connection. Providing supply with meter within 10 working days of request provided. A disco, and that is a disco has inspected and approved the electrical installation. Disco has agreed to connect the customer to its network. So let me explain this. When you are requesting for an additional connection or services that has to also do with that metering is involved. We told you that's one of your electricity consumer rights. When it has to do with new connection, it has to be strictly done based on metering. Remember? All new connection that has to do with the supply of your electricity. You built a house today, you are not expected to be placed on direct consumption. That's the regulation. You are supposed to be metered. And it is because there are different programs that has to do with metering. Remember, if consumers cannot wait to be metered free of charge, consumers can key into MAP, which is the meter asset provider. So when you have a new connection, there's no excuse. The distribution company has to do everything possible to advise you that this connection, and this is also help you as consumers, to help you not to become a consumer who is unmetered, to help you not to become a consumer who will be placed on estimated billing, because the problem of estimated billing is so much. And like we all know, meter is the only way, that's surest way that consumption can be determined. Once you have a meter, that's the one that, and for us, even as a commission, even where there is an issue, what we do is to, the meter, you understand, in as much as there are different ways that we can use to provide some form of intervention to the consumer, the best way, I tell you, is the meter. I know there are instances where if the consumer is able to key into a meter, we'll say, okay, let's monitor the consumption of the consumer for 3 months. That will help us to be able to take decision on the overbilling, for example, that a consumer must have been complaining about. Once we monitor it, we now know that, oh, this is your consumption pattern. Because at least 3 months is good enough. And if anybody is even in doubt, we can even extend it to 6 months. At least within those periods, there's no way that will really show that this is your consumption pattern. And then that's what the yardstick that will be used in determining your bills. For us, because, we've always said that we do not want, or we do not support consumers paying for what they did not consume. We want consumers only pay for services that they consume. And because we want fairness.
About I noticed that some fine, they are not on meter, so gas is estimated, right? They are usually very high, and their bill is usually the same with those ones who have consumed light with them. So there's this complaint that when it's time for bill, and they bring the electricity distribution company brings usually as high as those ones that are consuming light more. So is it because they are not on meter, or is it because it's an estimated billing? So regardless of whether you've used the light or like the other people are using light, or you don't use it, once it's an estimated bill, same amount of money you're going to pay?
Well, this example you've just given is really subject to investigation. And the reason why it is so is because, in spite of the fact that consumers get outrageous bills or crazy bills, as different consumers have names for what they feel about the kind of bills they get, it is still subject to investigation. Because bills, even when you are an on-meter consumer, it is expected that you will be billed in line with certain regulations that has been set out by the direct sector regulator, in this instance, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. And the component, and I've said it time without number on this platform, that the component that makes up one's bill are the cap. We have the cap, we have the tariff you assigned, and then in addition with the value added tax. So, and when you are capped, most of the time, for example, if you are living in, you are on the same feeder, it's expected that because your feeder is capped to certain number of energy, all of you will be paying the same amount. Do you understand? So I really don't understand from just where like you're coming from.
The tariff ban.
Yeah. The tariff, of course, if you're on the same feeder, that you will be paying the same thing, because you have an energy cap. You understand? You have a cap for your area. So, and like we've always said, the cap, if for example you are staying on that same feeder, you have a metered neighbor, because the way it was the average consumption of the metered neighbors that was used to come up with the cap. You understand? And then there are issues. Even the commission has constantly even engaged with the service provider, the direct sector regulator, which is why what the commission consistently advocates for on behalf of consumers is for all electricity consumers to be metered. Because we've seen complaints where somebody who stays in one room and then somebody who is in a duplex, being capped the same amount, because that's how the capping system works. It is in all attempt to ensure that consumers are not really overbilled, that the cap actually even came to. But it is still not the best way of billing consumers. The best way, like we said, metering. So I don't know, maybe that's the kind of experience some people have. Exactly. But that's unless maybe a consumer who is on another feeder. Otherwise, if you're on the same feeder, normally you get the same supply, and then you pay the same bill. So I really don't understand this one, the scenario you painted.
It's same.
Okay.
Because actually the consumer that even said almost the same. Said that's just like and basically what he had was just a refrigerator, and he's always going to work, not always. Next door neighbor had a lot of things, living in a bigger apartment, had a lot of light, more than his own consumption.
Okay, that's actually the capping system.
It's the capping system, okay.
So let's understand. So that's just the reason.
Okay.
It's because we are on the same feeder, and then the energy cap that is given to us on that feeder is the same. You understand? So we are charged the same. And it's something that the Commission has been engaging with the direct sector regulator. And then one thing we really want to make consumers to realize is that the cap that is given by the direct sector regulator that's the highest. It's saying that you must not bill the consumer above that cap, but you can even bill the consumer below that cap. So let us also understand, most people will not know, but we know some of these things when we're engaging with the distribution company. Most of the time, the distribution company will just choose, if the cap is 100, they will just, because that's what is given to them, they know that they are not doing anything outside the regulation. They give 100. You understand? So, but the regulation provides that the maximum. You cannot go above that's 100. So let's also know it. And that's why we're even telling the distribution company that most of the time you mustn't bill the consumers using the maximum cap. You can always be at the middle. Oh, yeah?
All right.
We have more.
We have more, right?
Yeah, we have more.
And looking at time, I think we'll get it calls. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
You should start picking calls, or you want to give us like one or two more.
Okay, let's talk about maybe two more. You know, we've talked about this severally. It's just a way of making you to really understand this, so that at every given time you will be able to demand and insist. So we talked about the one for 24 hours. Again, we have another one for 24 hours where an authorized official of distribution company visit the customer premises within 24 hours of a report of voltage outside the limits. When there is voltage outside the limits, the unauthorized official of the distribution company is expected to visit your location within, 24 hours. And, we know that consumers have had cause to call us about high current, when they experience voltages, above the limits that they are expected to get. So when we have such complaints, we should immediately reach out to the distribution company so that an authorized official of the distribution company will visit our location immediately. It is just an example and a way of emphasis that one has just given to you, so that you always remember that you need to reach out to the distribution company when you are experiencing such kind of problems. So I think we can open the phone line.
Okay.
And
all right, if you want to join us program, you tell us what you've experienced so far with
the customer
service standard. I mean, yes. As a consumer, you want to tell us what your experiences are. Please feel free to call us on 090 99 30 090 99 30 Please don't forget to turn down the volume of your tape. When you call us, turn down the volume of your device you're watching this program or you're listening to the program. Before you tell us what your experiences are, if you have any other complaints or you need further inquiries, call us, okay? 090 99 30 Let's now. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you. Welcome to FCC. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Abdul. I'm calling from.
Okay, Abdul from there. Please go ahead.
I want to know the expiring date of the upgrade of the meters and the. That is an urgent worry. I want to know the date of the meters and the don't change them or not. And the secondly, I want to know why this is Fccpc. Why do not tell all the major, maybe the right name of band and the tariff. The front of the vendor. The older vendor now, they are not a staff, they are casual. And you also know all those casual, they know the city. Taking the around and whatever. If the right memo, can't right all the band and your tariff. All the bicycle you can calculate it, remove that. You know this time, you can cover everything before you go down. And necessary. And many people and also pension and the law will know. They will come carry money here and the receipt they will give you. They know where the band and the tariff. The tariff doesn't no receipt you can call it there. Right the tariff. So sometimes now the folks them before I buy I know everything. And before them know the right the tariff. And I don't understand the right the law will print out. It's tariff. If you have the band it's tariff. But the tariff the law will attend this accuracy. If you go market you 1 by 4. They will go right now, I'm on. They don't tell you the movie of that right. Give them 1,000, they will give you 5. You think they give cancel. They will tell you this one. So tariff, give them the item they said the noble one. You will talk of that, the noble one. If you have to take computer for the manager here, get the right memo. Each one, the right tariff here.
Okay.
If you come, you read them, you can calculate.
Okay.
Before you buy, you know how much you can spend for the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Abdul, for calling.
Okay, Abdul from Day, right?
Yes, Abdul.
You know, some of the things you've said, some feedback that we want to really investigate, but I'm aware because, you know, some of the people that are really shortchanged are the unmetered consumer. And I know that the commission advocated that there should be information. And in fact, there was a time that we had to even also advocate that the bills were even too busy. So, for the consumers' understanding. So, and I'm aware of the estimated bill. When you cite the estimated bill, you will see that the tariff is provided, even the cap, and then the value-added tax is also provided on the estimated bill. And I think that it is also supposed to be provided even when you buy units. I really have not been taking because most of the time I just believe that what I do, I really do my small mathematics. You understand? I think I will also, when I finish, I will check so that, you know, before you will engage with the service provider, you have to really be armed. I'm sure that when you visit Buy Power, I think, I don't want to waste our time, but I think such this information is provided. I will check. And if they are not there, Mr. Abdul, we will, you know, engage with the distribution company if the tariff and the tariff is not provided. I think it's provided. I think a long time ago I've cited it once, but I have to be sure. But your contribution is taken. And then whatever it is, you're also asking about expiry dates of what meter?
Yes, about expiry date.
I can't really tell you when the meter expires because I don't work for the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company or any distribution company for that matter. But one thing, Mr. Abdul, I really want you to know is that why we're even here is begin to empower you to demand and insist. As an electricity consumer, there's nothing that stops you from visiting any business unit, you know, to make inquiry about anything. And remember that you can complain about anything that has to do with electricity. So you get information. It is within your right to know. And let me even tell you, if I'm not really bothered about expiration dates of a meter because I know that if the meter is not functioning, it is expected that because if I have a complaint, I will reach out to the distribution company. So it shouldn't really be the meter. Remember, is even a property of the distribution company. So it shouldn't really bother us. But if it is something you really, unless if there is an issue, even if the distribution company comes to you, for instance, to say that your meter has expired, it is their responsibility to provide another one. So let us also know this. So it shouldn't be something that you will be bothered. If they come to you and say the meter that has been installed in your premises has expired, let them bring a replacement. That is because the meter, even when you pay for it, it is their property, and that's why when you key into meter asset providers, it is expected that you will get a subsequent reimbursement of the same amount you paid for the meter. So let us also know that is it. I know some distribution company like the Just Electricity Distribution Company has started reimbursing consumers who keyed into the distribution, who keyed into meter asset provider. So, well, if you can find out. I don't really know the expiry dates. I don't know the lifespan of a meter, but you can find out from the distribution company.
All right, Abdul, I hope that. Let's. Oh. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Thank you. Welcome to FCCpc Hour.
Yes, my name is Madubujo.
Okay. From Galadima. All right, good to have you.
Thank you. Yes, I have issues I wanted to call in things that I always
Okay.
I decided to call today.
Okay, please go ahead.
I stayed in a rented apartment, and the bill they are bringing for us, the person controlling the bill is actually collecting 5,500 naira from the tenant. This is for 2 years now. And by the time we complain to the landlord that we need data in the house, he will go and separate with the landlords and then scatter their arrangements. So we're actually tired of the situation of this one. So I want to know what is if they actually accumulated of over 800 and something thousand naira in the house, then we not even, some of us will not. So we bet that if they don't want data, let's separate. On the other row of like 5 rooms unit of the house needed meter. So let us separate the light so that they can be using the estimated while we will have meter. She is still saying no to that. We are actually tired of the whole situation. We don't know what to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, Mr. Madugu, I'm sorry about your experience. These things are a bit, there are things that actually you need to have a conversation with your landlord because the house does not belong to you. It's something, and that's why even as electricity consumers, even as a commission, what we have done using this platform is also to talk to you about the fact that before you move into any apartment, before you move into any house that you plan to rent, run your checks and find out the kind of bills that the house, the utilities, whether the house is owing or not, whether the house is free from any form of bills or not. Because most people just move into apartment that have a lot of bills, and then it becomes a problem. And when you run your check and you find out that the house is having any form of accumulated bill, what you are supposed to do is to have a conversation. How are we going to handle this? Sometimes some landlords are reasonable to come up with a solution. Some are not. So I can tell you that for free, if you want meter, you can actually apply for one. And that means that you are ready to, because I know that a whole lot, some people have had conversation with the landlord where the landlord will tell them that he doesn't have money, but if you buy the meter, he's going to deduct it from your next house rent. So it is all of this conversation is something that you really need to have with your landlord to come up, unless if you are just willing to just donate the meter, because if you buy a meter and then when you want to leave the premises, you are not allowed to just remove the meter. That is it. So just have a conversation. My advice would be that you have a conversation, have a discussion with your landlord and explain to your landlord the need for you to have a meter and that you cannot continue with these bills that keeps coming to you. And remember that even you really need to have a real conversation The reason is because even when you have a meter, those accumulated bills will be migrated into your meter. Because those bills, the meter is going to be on the name of the house. So it is, you really need to have a conversation on what needs to.
Says something about 100,000.
Yes, that they met an accumulated bill
of 800,000.
So
yes.
you need discussion with your landlord. Because don't even rush into having a meter, because when you have a meter, it doesn't mean that those accumulated bills will be wiped. So you must have a conversation with your landlord, and you need to really write a complaint. Just talk to your landlord so that if you are even contesting the bill, a reconciliation sort of can be done on your behalf, so that you will really know the actual amount that the house is supposed to pay. And then if it's something that people can come together to, offset the bill, you do that before you have a meter, so that you start a meter without any outstanding. I think that's usually the best approach.
All right, the number is still 090-9930-111. Please call us. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome on board. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
It's Mr. Abdul calling back. The question I asked, you don't understand the question. Make I repeat the question well.
Okay, the first caller.
If they say they go upgrade the meta, all the meta they go upgrade them. You get the gift. Say if you no upgrade them to that time, if you you got a card, the card you never enter.
Okay, Abdul.
That's what I asked the spelling there.
Okay, Abdul,
The second question.
Are you listening, Abdul?
The second question is when you get meta, when you go you recharge your card, you get one receipt then they give you. That receipt they not go write 1 unit is so amount, they not go write them. If you don't go click write them, they will hide them for you. They not go write say this 1 unit is so amount, they not go write them for inside the receipt. If you have meta, if you go recharge, they not go write them. You can correct them.
Okay.
Abdul, your question is clear. And that's why we said to you that even as whether they provide this information, and I've said a lot of things. I've said that the commission will engage with them if those information are not provided. That's one of the things that I said. And then I also said that even you as an electricity consumer, Abdul, you can walk up to any distribution company nearest to you and request for your tariff. This is what you can do. And then concerning the upgrade you talked about, if they say they want to upgrade your meter, why not allow them to upgrade your meter? Let your meter be upgraded, and I believe that upgrading of the meter is for optimum service, for you to get improved service. So it's not really a problem. And I've answered to say that you asked, we heard you when you say expiration date. I don't know whether you are talking about when the upgrade, the expiration dates, I mean the...
upgrade expiration.
Yeah, the upgrade expiration date. If that's what you are asking, then it's a different thing. Why do you even, if they want to upgrade, allow them to upgrade your meter? Because you also talked about the fact that if you don't upgrade, you will not be able to load your meter. If you are having a serious challenge, or I'm not really understanding you, maybe you will need to have a conversation after the program. But concerning upgrade, I even know that the upgrade that they've been talking about is the same for all distribution company, and the expiration date for the upgrade is something around November 2024. So, but I will advise you that you should go ahead to upgrade your meter if you are being asked to upgrade your meter.
And I also want Abdul that this program is trying to let you know that you have the right to work in any electric nearest to make inquiries, okay? Like this one, the expiration date, you have the right to go to the nearest electric
business unit, of course.
Any business unit where you pay your bill, you can go there to ask for all this information. Unless if you don't get what you require, that is when you need services of FCC on that. You understand? But I think high time down to engage your electricity distribution company. Know that yes, you know what you're doing. This program has impacted in you know your rights, and These are things you have the right to go and ask or seek information from the electricity company. Okay?
And thank you very much with this clarification. And these services, let's also know that these electricity services are actually provided by this distribution company. So who is even in a better position, to to give you information that you want? What the commission is actually doing is even to empower you, to let you know that you have the right to make complaints. And the complaint, I can't even say the type of complaint you should make. It is anything at all that has to do with the services you get from the distribution company. So, and it is like this one that you're trying to find out. Remember that the distribution company is there to serve you. That is the sole aim why they are established. So don't be afraid. Just locate any business unit, and then for any concerning even what you have said, of them to include the tariff in your receipts, I'm going to check that, and then if we see that those information are not provided, the commission will engage and mandate them to ensure that those information are provided. And like I told you, it was the commission that advocated that your tariff should be provided even on your bills for those consumers who are unmetered, and that is done. At least that one I have cited it time without number in the course of resolving some consumer complaints.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to Fccpc Hour.
Well, my name is Felix.
Okay, Felix, you're calling us from where?
From Apo Mechanic Village Estate.
So good to have you on board. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The problem we have is that we have, the house is actually not my own. I live in somebody's house.
Okay.
But we have light problem with our meter. Our meter is an old one, and then we normally buy cards, load it, and then use the lights. When it's finished, we'll buy another one. So all of a sudden, it's stop accepting recharge. When you are loading, the card is not entering. So we contacted the the NEPA and the NEPA office now said that they have to change meter. So I don't know. Changing meter now is very expensive. I don't know. What can you advise us? Do we have where we can get meter direct? That is a bit. I don't know, man.
Okay,
Mr. Felix, I am sorry about your experience. I mean, the challenge you have trying to load your unit, and I don't know. I don't understand really about why they even told you that you have to get a meter. First of all, yes, if you are an unmeter consumer and then the distribution company cannot provide you a meter, and then you choose to key into the meter asset providers, you can. You understand? But if you have a meter, and then prior to now, the meter was accepting the unit, I think that the distribution company should still be able to find a solution to resolve that for you. And I really don't know whether the complaint you made to the distribution company was verbally or in writing. If you made a complaint in writing, the commission will really want to. You may need to escalate this complaint so that we really understand what the problem is all about. And either ways, unless if you are also willing to key into the meter asset providers, if you are willing to do that, actually you can visit the nearest business unit of the distribution company to get one. There's no place I am aware that you can get a meter at a cheap price apart from visiting the nearest business unit of the distribution company. And I'm saying this so that you don't even go and buy a stolen meter, or you buy any meter that is the whereabout is not known. Ensure that the meter you are going to get is the one that is given to you by the distribution company. You need to do that so that you don't fall into wrong hands that will bring problem to you.
Okay, now we talked about having issues. So ideally, company goes another meter for added by another.
Normally, one of the things that I've said that even earlier on, I told you that the responsibility of buying any electricity equipment is not that of the consumer. And when the consumer's meter is faulty, they said it's old. You understand?
Yes.
Ideally, the distribution company, if they are saying the meter is not really serving them, because one thing consumers should know is that once you are metered, you remain metered forever.
Okay.
You understand? So I really don't know. If they say it's old, they should provide him with a new one. That would be the approach. Right? That would be the approach of the commission. Because even the responsibility of metering consumers has not been taken away from the discos. It is just because of this challenge that abounds in the distribution company, that even the government came up with the national mass metering, so that in trying to close the metering gap, because a lot of cries are out there concerning overbilling. So, but that responsibility of even metering consumers still remains that of the distribution company. So if the distribution company is saying the meter is old, what they are supposed to do is to get him another one. And for crying out loud, as a matter of fact, they are supposed to do everything urgently to resolve Mr. Felix's problem. And let me also take time, and so that Mr. Felix will also know, because I don't know what is happening to them. Because the next thing the distribution company will clamor that they should be placed on direct. Do not allow anybody to place you on direct supply. The only thing they can do, if they are saying that they don't even have a meter, is that they are only allowed to take the previous average consumption that you have had, and then that will be what you'll be paying pending when they are able to meter you. If you don't have money and the distribution company does not have meter to give to you, the answer is take the previous average consumption of the consumer, and that will be what the consumer will be paying pending when you are able to meter the consumer. And I hope that this helps, because this is within your right.
All right, 2 more calls to go now. It's past clock. Have to go before we call it wrap on the please call us on 090 99 301011 090 99 111. Yes, remember, talking about service standard. What is expected of every electrician company about clients or customers. If you are a power customer, this is what you should know. Services you're expected to get, duration of service, all spelled out by me. Please call us. We have 2 calls to go before we call it a wrap, okay? Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Yes, please turn down the volume of your TV. Hello? Please turn down the volume of your TV. Okay, if you call us, please kindly turn down the volume of your TV, your radio, or any device you're watching from, okay? We're having having feedback, and have that feedback, all right? Hello, good afternoon. Thank you. Yes, welcome to Fccpc Hour. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is coming from.
Okay, good to have you on board. Please, let's hear you.
Sorry, I want to.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I have come for the I was
I didn't quite get your name. What did you say your name is?
My name is
Joshua. Okay, Mr. Joshua, did you pay for this meter? Hello, did you pay for the meter? I said, did you pay for this meter?
I have not paid for it. When I was that there's a contact number, I don't send so that I can use the contact number to pay it. But over a month, I have not received any contact number.
Okay, no problem. What I'm going to do, so I will give you I'm going to announce our contact. So later, maybe you and I will announce our contact number. Later, you are going to speak with me, so I will take further details of you, and then we'll link you up with the distribution company to provide you with a meter. So if we have a dedicated. All right, Mr. Joshua.
All right, thank you.
So let me use this opportunity also to give you our contact, how consumers can reach out to us. And if you want to reach out to us to make an inquiry or to file any complaints, you can actually visit our website, which is www.fccpc.gov.ng. www.fccpc.gov.ng. And we have a dedicated electricity phone number that you can reach out to us, or you can call us, send us WhatsApp, even SMS. The number is 081 19 87 77 85. 081 19 87 77 85. And if you live here in Abuja and you want to visit our office to file your complaints physically, we are located at number 23 Jimmy Carter Street at Sokoro. Number 23 Jimmy Carter Street at Sokoro. And if you want to send us an email, which you can do within the comfort zone of your house, our email address is contact@fccpc.gov.ng. contact@fccpc.gov.ng. You can send us an email, and if you want to interact with us on our social media platform, it is the same for X, which used to be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It is at FCCPC Nigeria. At FCCPC Nigeria is our social media platform contact.
And Nigeria, is it full?
Nigeria is in full.
Okay.
At FCCPC Nigeria, you can interact with us. Remember, I said to you, the first one I gave to you was our website, which you can get even our other offices. We have other offices across Nigeria. If you visit our website, you should be able to find information, and then you could get to know more about the commission, and you can also file your complaint when you visit our website. So that will be it. If you want to interact with us, like I said, we have a dedicated electricity phone number, which I earlier gave out, which is 081 19 87 77 85. You can send us WhatsApp, you can send us SMS.
All right, let's last call 090 99 30 111. Call the number is 090 99 30 101. Just before we get the last call, I don't know if you have any other thing to add.
Oh yes, what I can say to you, our electricity consumers, is to know how to demand and insist on your rights. What the commission sets out to achieve is to empower you as electricity consumers so that you begin to exercise your rights. You begin to demand and insist on your rights. And then for the distribution companies, the service providers, what the commission expects from you is transparency in dealing with consumers. Accountability is what we expect you as service providers. We expect nothing short of transparency from the service provider. And consumers, like I said earlier, do not forget to demand and insist on your right.
Let's take the last call. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes,
Thank you. Welcome to FCCPC Hour. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
my name is Thomas. I'm calling from
Okay. Okay, please go ahead.
I have a question.
All right.
Number one, is it a responsibility for the community to provide this transformer, or is for the AE to bring the transformer? That's one. The transformer do have in Tampa, we have an issue because of the loading the community, so many people and so on. So they have voted several times. They have voted several times to the AEDC. So up to today, the transformer has getting to 2 months now. Our transformer has now. So we still write. They tell us that they will come and transformer. Almost getting to 3 weeks now. They say they will come and carry the transformer so that they will repair it. But they have never come and pick it.
Okay, Mr. Suleiman, did you say the transformer has packed up? Is that what you... Okay. Okay, I'm sorry about your experience. So, what you need to do is to write this complaint, you know. You have to make a formal complaint to the commission. Now, do you understand? Okay, can you hear me? You need to put down a formal complaint to the commission in writing, in addition with what you have complained, and then you state this fact, that this is what has happened, that the distribution company has failed to come and carry the transformer as promised. Okay?
And then the first question he talked about...
Okay, sorry. Oh, he asked whether it was your responsibility to provide transformer. Not at all. It is what we have always said. It is not the responsibility of electricity consumers to carry out any repair, replacement of any equipment that is belonging to the distribution company. It is a duty of the distribution company to carry out repairs, a replacement of any of their equipment, and transformer is inclusive.
All right. I think I can't thank you enough for always enlightening us on our rights, electricity distribution on the FCC Hour. Thank you very much for always coming and then taking out your time, your effort to always be here, give us more enlightenment. And we always encourage our people to call in and to always be listening to the program. We want you to be an active listener of this program, FCC Hour on Human Rights Radio and TV 101.21 FM is every Monday from 11 to 12 noon. You're going to know more about your rights on electricity. And if you have further inquiries you want to make, please feel free to contact their number which is 091.
My number is 081.
081, sorry.
Let me say that. 081.
Yes, say the number again.
1987 7785. 081 1987 7785. The conversation can actually continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for listening and watching the Fccpc Hour on Human Rights Radio and 101.21 FM. Yes, brought to you by FCC with the support of MacArthur Foundation. Special thanks to MacArthur Foundation for supporting this program. And also special thanks to all of you out there listening to us and watching. And another special thanks to our ordinary president who has also given us the platform to engage our customers out there to know your right electricity. Please don't forget, if you have any complaint regarding to power, feel free to go to any unit closer to you so that you can out your complaint. And don't forget to make sure that if you are writing any complaint, have it documented, please. Don't use word of mouth. Have it documented so that you can always refer back your documents in case you want to follow up. Okay? Please stay tuned for the next program and enjoy the afternoon.